Hello there. This is Oprah and Sisses. And today we are doing something very, very special. We're doing something very, very fun. And this is the first time I'm doing something in this particular format. I'm breaking down TJ Channels, aka Ted Lake's recent film, which is, of course, the Spider-Man Impossible Darkness fan film. This was a project very, very long in the making, from what I'm aware of. In fact, the small role that I believe I had in this, I recorded for that all the way back in June, and I believe it began production much, much earlier than that. So really, this is a very anticipated event, and I congratulate Mr. Lake on managing to complete his film, and I must say he must feel very satisfied with himself. And so I shall begin, but what we're doing today is not necessarily a reaction, because I have already watched it. It's not a review either. What it is a shot-by-shot breakdown, where I will be going through every single frame, every single second, every single millisecond, actually, and I will be checking out what we have in this fan film and commenting on it. So let's start. Now here, I want you to notice one thing. Okay, before this even starts, we had the little intro here, and I must have missed a part of it because I remember there being... Give me a second. Yeah, we have this music, and obviously TJ probably, I believe he does the music himself. And even though obviously it's no spectacular, extraordinary composition, because obviously he is a person who I don't believe he wants to be a composer in the future. Obviously, if he did, I would have higher standards. But for a person who enjoys doing this, just like myself, but doesn't seek it as a profession, this is a very good little track. Now, I like the blurriness here. Look at this blurriness that was there. I must have, I didn't pause on it. There was this blurriness and a kind of very simple, quick shot, very effective. Gives the audience just enough information. That's a hook. That's a hook that gets the audience hooked. That's what you did right, straight off. Now next we have this good music. We have the Spider-Man theme from the original, obviously, but with the dun, dun, dun going at the same time. Very good variation you created, Ted. Very interesting variation. We have the cast names, and obviously the red and black color. Very intriguing, straight off. Sets a very great atmosphere. Creates a very great atmosphere for the film. Okay. Here we have the start, and the only thing I would critique here is that the way it goes from the intro to the shot, too fast. I think there needs to be a little more of a smoother transition. Technically, if you that's actually something you could do in iMovie and a lot of other programs. You can do it in any software from what I'm aware of. At least I think it should be available everywhere. You could kind of make the music fade or the sound into the next shot. But obviously, this works anyway, not too distracting. Didn't distract me, at least. This is just me afterwards breaking it down. And we have TJ in the costume. And TJ has already proved himself in the past to be a wonderful Spider-Man. In fact, he is, in my opinion, a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire, than Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland, and let me tell you exactly why. And I'm not overly reacting here. The fact of the matter is that I don't like any of the Spider-Mans in the movies. I don't like any of them, and the truth of the matter is that I don't like any of them, because what I feel Spider-Man is supposed to be, and he was definitely that in the first couple of comics of The Amazing Spider-Man. Obviously, issue 6 is already where I started going skeptical, and he kind of went down the rails a little for me. But I always felt like Spider-Man is supposed to be a very fair and good person. And while the others are most certainly good, they're fair, they're just, they feel a little bit too... teenage, for me, kind of not my kind of character. TJ, on the other hand, perfect, very intriguing, and not as blatant looking as most of the other Spider-Mans for me personally. He has a much more unique face, which immediately draws me in. For example, if you look at my films, I make sure that the lead characters always look very interesting. For example, I would never cast my mother in like a main role. And not because I don't love my mother. I love my mother, I love her acting, and I give her big roles, but I would never cast her in the main role because I always judge based on appearance and based on acting qualities when it comes to live action, because appearance is very important. We need to get the audience hooked. We need to get them to stare at our lead characters and be like, oh my god, I love that face. What a unique face. What a unique face. What a unique actor. What a unique character. That's what we need. And TJ definitely exemplifies all of those traits. Now next we have this wonderful narration. Wonderful narration. And the montage. A montage. Oh my goodness. That's fantastic. That's genius. Genius. I love montages when they're done correctly, and when it comes to an introduction, this is done very right. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of music being put into. Okay, let's just pause here because this is an important scene coming up. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of music used in movies. I like original scores, but obviously sometimes it works. And though this is not my kind of song, I can definitely see why TJ would use it. It definitely sets the tone he wants for the film. Now, here we have the introduction of Dr. Octopus, and he's by far the best character TJ has ever created in his fan films. He is the best written. TJ used elements from all kinds of different sources and combined them flawlessly. Well, maybe there were some flaws, but obviously, I'm exaggerating a bit, but very perfectly, in my opinion. Very near being completely perfect. And this is a wonderful character. So let's go ahead and watch more of it, and I'll tell you more. We just had the introduction of all the gear. I enjoyed that. And now this next shot, I don't particularly enjoy this shot too much. Because it's a bit too diagonal for my taste, and and it's a bit too close for my taste, but I can't judge you on that, TG, because I would be proving myself a hypocrite, because in one of my films, I actually used a very similar looking shot where I put it diagonally, and I actually enjoyed that, so I could see why you would like this angle as well. And this, okay, we need to discuss this interaction. First of all, you're wonderful. You're putting shots for both of the characters. You're putting for him, for Peter Parker. You're putting for Otto Octavius. Both shots, and then you're editing them together. Wonderful, wonderful. But, what more? I want to say that the Dr. Octopus actor, and I'm so sorry, but I completely forgot his name. And I mean absolutely no offense to any other cast members, because I love the entire cast. The selection was perfect. Everyone is very talented. We have Lucimus Prime coming up who cameoed in this. He was wonderful. And I truly hope that people don't take these words of mine out of context or misunderstand them and get offended in any way. But so obviously I'm saying that I love everyone. But if I had to choose, I have to say that Mr. I don't know his name, unfortunately, but whoever plays Dr. Octopus, he's the best cast member. He's up there as one of my favorite Dr. Octopus actors, no doubt. And it's maybe I even prefer him over Alfred Molina, probably. And I'll tell you why in a second, but immediately we get the introduction, and immediately I'm like, I love this guy's acting. The accent, the delivery, the pronunciation, everything. It's wonderful. And as soon as I started watching and I saw this, I was like, you know what? I truly underestimated this actor from the trailers. I thought he would be a weak link. Not necessarily, but I didn't think he'd be the strongest cast member. He is by far the strongest cast member, in my humble opinion, personally. But I also want to congratulate Ted here, because Ted gave an American accent, and a wonderful accent at that. And obviously, one thing, if I do have to criticize Ted for one thing, to be fair, it is that sometimes you have to be a little consistent with the accent. It sometimes fades away a little, but overall, it is most definitely worthy of a lot of my praise. Look at this face. Look at this face. Well, that is amazing. That is what I call top-notch acting. You need to be an actor. Trust me, you need to be. You'll nail it. That's what profession you should seek. And look at that accent. Look at that pronunciation. I love it. I love all of it. And look at Ted here just now. The wrinkles, that's good acting too. That's wonderful acting. I believe in these two characters. I believe that they're real. They feel three-dimensional. And they feel three-dimensional because Ted managed to craft it so well. It's amazing. It's amazing, I tell you.
Thank you so much. When do I have to be there? 10 a.m. sharp.
10 a.m. sharp. Look at that hand movement. Gestures, body gestures, hand gestures, very important in acting. And when I see that, I love it. And I know if I ever saw a person do that kind of movement in their acting with such a kind of face expression, I would know they're a cast member. They're an official cast member of one of my projects. That's incredible.
Thank you so much. You won't regret this. Okay, bye. Bye.
Now, the last part was a little bit weak, but it did not take me out. It was obviously... there could be a bit stronger acting in the last part, but that's no problem. But the transition, now look at this. Transition from one shot to the next. That is amazing.
Watch out!
He looks amazing in those glasses, by the way. Very fitting. As I said before, appearances have everything to do with the perception of characters, at least in my kind of understanding. Whenever I watch a movie... Like, I look at Davy Jones, I'm intrigued by his design, I love him instantly. But when I look at someone like a little more boring to me, like, do you even name Prince Charming from Once Upon a Time? I'm not as intrigued. Appearance is very important, not to be underestimated. And he looks wonderful in those glasses, really, really, all of those dark arc traits that are needed from the comics and everything, they're here. They're most definitely here.
My shirt, sir.
Oh my, yeah, this part, him crashing everything, what a great part, I love it. And the music, obviously, as I said before, could be better, but TJ is wonderful, because obviously, as far as I know, he isn't seeking a professional, he isn't working on this every day, like playing the piano, notes, he isn't... His goal isn't to become a Mozart, so obviously not the strongest music, but very, very much fitting for the scene, and especially for his current level, from what I am aware of.
Otto!
Great acting, and I love those down angles. In fact, I had a lot of them in my own movie, Прекрасный детектив. If you guys watch that, if you want me to watch that, I will send you the link. I have a lot of those shots. I love the shots that are shot from down. I love those. There's just something about me that is always connected to those shots. My heart, my soul, my passion. And look at those movements. Now this cut, I did not enjoy this cut. It felt a little from one side to the next, kind of a bit too rushed, but not a problem. Just a little nitpick, not a serious concern. Don't worry.
You see, when I was just a young boy, my father...
Oh my god, and the flashbacks, wonderful. And also, there's this statement that great minds think alike, and you did exactly the same thing that I did for my movie, Прекрасный детектив. When I have flashbacks, they're black and white. You did black and white for the flashbacks too. I don't know how we thought of doing that together, but this is wonderful. Oh, and also, I do want to say that I listened to the music again, this particular part right here, I actually like it more this time around. So maybe I even will put a point up for the music too. And the actor for Otto's father, also wonderful actor. Very small screen time, but very good for what he has. And, yeah. I like the close-up on the hands. That was nice. Swift camera movement.
One day, one of his tests went terribly wrong.
Oh, and obviously body language. Very... Okay, the explosion effect... It's not. I wouldn't exactly say it's not the actual effect. I'd say it's the sound effect. I know that a loud thing could be a little distracting here, but I do think there could be a little sharpness. But I want to say that the body movements were amazing. They have the body language. They didn't say a line, and just with that narration, we felt everything that was going through their heads. You are a wonderful director. I don't know whether the actors thought of that themselves or if you had a very specific vision, but whatever it is, or whether it is a combination of the two, that was wonderful. I'm telling you. Look at him. Look at him. He's shaking his father's body. That's amazing. That's great. That's perfect. Look at that. Look at that. That's what I call wonderful.
It caused me to develop a degenerative neurological disorder. It was a rare disease that causes all of the body to stop working over time, even the brain.
And the narration also done wonderful. And that was a smooth transition. And I love the reflection in the glasses.
Even be able to protect the brain.
But always make sure that
I'm sorry I kept this all from you.
I don't exactly see whether we saw you holding the camera or not. Oh, here we have Jameson, another top-notch actor. He is up there as my... Okay, I know many of you might not believe this. You might think that I'm over-exaggerating, but trust me, I'm an honest person. I tell my mind as it is, and I like this guy more than J.K. Simmons. Yes, I do. And obviously, the reason being is, even though he might not look exactly as much as the comic version, I like his character more. JK, he's a little more. This guy here, he's a little more. If that makes any sense, Couldn't quite put that to words.
Hey, Peter, where you been?
Yeah, look, hey, Peter. Yeah, that's. I like that. And look at him putting his hat off, everything. He has his movements all thought through.
How much? Hey, Peter, there's 200 bucks now be on the way.
Yeah, oh my god, I love it. Wait, let me check that out again. Let me check that out. Was there a...
Hey, Peter, there's 200 bucks now be on the way.
Oh, yes! The transition. Oh my goodness, you're killing it with these transitions. Yes. Wonderful stuff. Although I would not recommend putting stuff like, other film names and so on t-shirts in films. It isn't necessarily because it's bad, but because it does serve as a bit of a distraction, whether intentional or not. Obviously, we have the posters here, a nice little detail. Okay, so what is this? I didn't quite understand this scene initially. Oh, that was just a random video, it seems. Crime alert. Alright, so what I would recommend next time is... Obviously, you're shaking the camera, and the text is moving with the camera, so obviously, it's obviously attached text, but what I would recommend next time is either put the cameras on a holder in this particular scene, or have the screen record this, and then using some form of software attach this and then film them, if that makes any sense. Oh my god, I realized that my storage is almost full on the camera, and we are barely even 5 minutes in. And let me tell you something. So how about we split this breakdown into parts? We're gonna stop at 10 minutes today, maybe even less, depending on how it goes. I want to give this film my full attention, and obviously the story just making that a problem. Okay, yeah, I like that blur effect once again, and this is actually the scene where I come in. This isn't me. This is another actor wearing the body costume. I do the voice, so we did a kind of similar thing to Darth Maul with Peter Serafinowicz and Ray Park, and James Earl Jones and David Prowse for Darth Vader. So this will be me right here.
Spider-Man, you are going down.
Speaking of myself, I will of course say that I did enjoy my own performance, because I do actually enjoy my performances most of the time. But if I had to critique one thing about my performance here in this particular case, with this one sentence I had here, it's I, I think I need, when I have such heavy. First of all, the effects felt way too heavy. They felt way too heavy, and I think the way to improve that was not to send my recording just through the Skype microphone. I should have redid that. That was completely my mistake. But other than that, maybe I should have just, been more articulative so that every letter could be heard very smoothly. And because obviously I could understand everything I said, but I don't know. Is the average audience member going to understand? I'm not certain, but hopefully they will. For those who didn't, I said, Spider-Man, you're going down. I am the Taskmaster and you are dead meat. This was recorded in June, so obviously this shows how long it took for the thing to be done. We got a little bit of the quips, very, very, very typical for this particular version of Spider-Man. It seems we have him running in with me doing the sounds. The fight here, well choreographed. I would do a few more cuts here or have some kind of camera movement because this part felt a little bit slower than the rest, but not a problem. Once again, just minor nitpick. Oh, this is what I call an interesting experimental shot. I don't see shots like that often.
Why are you doing this?
Although, personally, I'm so sorry, but I can't stand the music here. Not because it's bad music, because it's completely not my taste of music. This kind of guitar music, it always makes me feel severe anxiety and nervousness, and I always get, I start shaking. It gets me scared for some reason. So it kind of does. I would, if I were to make the film, obviously I would put something like da 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 da. But obviously you know better what you do. So obviously this is just a personal preference difference. Now the noises here, obviously they're simple stock noises. I've heard these many times, but they work very well. They add that dynamic to the fight, that much needed strength, that much needed fun. And I like the noises I do here most definitely. The noises I really like. It's just the sentence that I had myself with a problem with critiquing myself, because I felt I didn't deliver it properly enough. It was difficult to understand what I was saying, but I don't know, maybe others will understand.